Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be reacting to a video by Kristopher London titled My Response to the Too Hype Situation. So let's begin.
This video by saying I apologize for taking this long. If there's anything I've learned from my past video, which was completely irresponsible of me, it's to not react right away. A lot of these things and accusations that you're hearing about are getting mixed up with the Tyler situation, when in fact a lot of my mistakes happened 2 to 3 years ago. Towards the end of this video, I will briefly mention the Tyler situation as much as I feel comfortable sharing in respects to.
So as I say in every video, the first thing we do is form a baseline of someone's body language. So I'll watch a couple of minutes of this clip and basically get an idea of what his normal baseline is, his normal behavior is, and then when he says certain things, we can see the deviation from that behavior, which then gives us an indication as to whether he's lying or if he's telling the truth. So he's doing a lot of looking at the camera, and he's very still. He doesn't really show much energy, which is interesting. So yeah, that's something to note, and then we'll measure the deviation from that later on when he talks about stuff in particular.
It's very personal, and there's a lot of things and details that you guys aren't aware of and probably will never be aware of. Also want to mention there will be cuts throughout this video to make sure it's short, concise, and to the point, and to take out any dead space, likes, etc. And to start things off, my last video. So a little while ago, when this whole drama sparked, I was getting really emotionally involved, too emotionally involved. I mean, my tweets, everything regarding the situation, it was irresponsible of me, it was immature. I have the responsibility to hold myself accountable, which I should have done from the get-go.
Notice he looks to the left there, so that indicates remembering something. He's remembering something. Most of us look up when we remember, but he seems to look to the left. So that's his baseline, so we can then factor that in when we're going to see other parts of this video if he deviates from that. So if all of a sudden he's looking down when he's trying to remember points, then that could indicate that he's trying to fabricate things. So yeah, that's important to note. But his tone does seem very dry, very sort of monotone throughout the whole thing. So yeah, that's interesting. But that's good for us because then we can tell when he changes his pitch, so he either gets more energetic or louder. You can then tell stuff basically from that. But you'll need other body language cues basically to make a final decision.
You know, I want to apologize to the community, to Too Hype. It sparked this whole thing. This whole drama, one way or the other, is my fault. I need to stop. I need to do better. I made the...
Notice he leans in when it says it's his fault and he needs to do better. That indicates truthfulness, as when you lean in, you're trying to put yourself closer to the stressor. Now in body language, what a stressor is something causing you stress. So obviously he doesn't want to be making this video because it's not his usual video. It's about drama. So obviously he feels some stress in doing it, and that's what we call a stressor. So the camera or the person is the stressor. So notice the camera has distance from it. But when he says what he said, he leans in, which shows that he's willing to get closer to that stressor because he's being truthful. Whereas if he was lying, you'd expect him to try and distance himself. Now, distancing behaviors are basically behaviors by which people do to distance themselves from the stressor. So if the stressor is the camera, which it is in this case, you'd expect him to lean back, for him to look away, for him to turn his head. That's distancing, but he doesn't when he says that. He's being honest. He thinks he's at fault at this. He thinks he's responsible for the drama, and he leans in to prove that point. Basically, it goes back to caveman times when if there's a predator in front of you, if you're afraid of it, you don't lean into it. You try and distance yourself from it. So that's something to note here.
Knowing that I would look bad, the group would look bad. That video just shouldn't have been uploaded. I said in that video that everyone left the group when in fact they were kicked. And that was one of the main reasons I deleted the video. That's just me making the same mistakes. Being reactive, emotional, off impulse, not thinking things through. Just going on the internet, crying, playing the victim card, when I should just be owning up and taking responsibility. All of this is petty. I need to do better, and I need to lead by example. I keep blaming other people and finding excuses. You know, I love holding others accountable, but I can't even hold myself accountable. And it's time I change. You're probably looking at this situation and seeing all of these videos and really don't like me. And to be honest, man, after watching all those videos, I wouldn't like me either. But unless
notice his cues there. He's doing a lot of head shaking. That seems to be his baseline when he's being truthful and honest. He does that consistently throughout this. Shaking his head like that when he's saying a point seems natural for him. So then we can read the deviation from that when he might be lying and he'll do something else.
Don't know. And like Cash said, you hear one perspective, the other perspective, and then there's the truth. I'm just going to talk about what I think matters in this whole situation, as a lot of it has been said through the other members, so you guys can go get a little more context there. Now, I made quite a few mistakes a couple years back, and one of those mistakes was the 2-Hype audition, which is an idea that I presented to the guys in the old 2-Hype house to, announce a new member. It wasn't until a month later that I made the choice to just not do it anymore, as I did start to feel that expanding 2-Hype wasn't in our interest after talking with all the guys. And that's when, the lack of communication started to come about. And that is...
Notice his body language is very static, but he's doing some hand gestures. So that's important to factor in with his baseline as well. He doesn't seem very high energy in this video. I haven't seen his other videos, so I can't really make any comparisons. But yeah, low energy. It shows that he's not motivated to make this video. He doesn't want to make this video, but he's still doing it. He's keeping eye contact through the whole thing. I'd say a bit too much eye contact for people, but that's his baseline, so that's normal for him. And he hasn't deviated from that really at all in this video so far. So I'd say he's being quite truthful. And he's looking at the camera, which is a good sign of confidence, truthfulness, honesty. So yeah, it's interesting, but his body language is very sort of relaxed, and it shows that he's not very stressed by this video, which is interesting because the others we've seen, they seem to be high energy, they seem to be eager to get it off their chest, whereas he seems more calm and collected. Maybe that's just his personality, I'm not too sure.
TD and Walker a lot better throughout this idea, and I did feel bad. I did not think through this idea, and I want to just take time to apologize again to the fans who auditioned. I really appreciate the time that you took out, and I'm really sorry for presenting this opportunity and getting your hopes up. Again, that's my fault. I really do apologize. And now on to the phone call. I don't know who or what, how it was recorded. Doesn't matter. Just a fun fact.
Notice he looks up there, which is a bit different from his baseline when he's remembering something, but we don't just stick to one, basically, eye movement when we're remembering something. He looks to the side and he also looks up when he's remembering. He's only done it once so far, so, can't really factor it into his baseline, but it's a normal behavior. It doesn't reveal anything, and it does indicate that he's remembering something, so it does indicate truthfulness. But again, it's not really matching up with his baseline. But then again, he only did the looking to the left once, so yeah, it seems that he's got a very cool head and that he's not doing too much thinking. He's just delivering. So yeah, but that just could be who he is. That's his personality type. He's very calm, laid back.
Is actually illegal in the state of California, as it is a two-party state. Therefore, everybody in the call or a private conversation you may have with somebody, they must all consent to be recorded. And I, for one, have never consented in any of these leaked phone calls. I think just in general, it was a poor choice of...
So when you look down, that indicates that you feel guilt. Not guilt as in you've done wrong and you think, oh, I'm guilty, I'm lying. But he does feel bad about it, and it's an act of submission. When you look down, you feel submissive. So to the camera, he's acting submissive, which shows that he's trying to apologize. He feels sorry about it. If they're being accused of something and they don't feel ashamed of it, they're not going to look down. This is a sign of submission. He's submitting to the camera. He's saying, look, I'm sorry. I feel bad about what I've done, which indicates honesty. So yeah, that's something to take from this
situation of moving forward without TD, Los, and Mal. It was a group decision. I will admit we should have handled that situation a lot better, where we all just come together, hash out our differences, any personal differences that we had, discuss why we made the move. Now, I don't want to get into too many personal details about this phone call. It was straight to the point. Everyone talked, including me, Zach, Cash, James, Jesse, and Tyler. Now, the reason why I didn't react to this leak is because I meant what I said, but what I meant didn't follow up with everybody else based off the reaction that I'm seeing. What we meant was share your side, share your story, speak up so we don't have to speak for you. That's all that was. But to be honest, I could see why I put you guys in a tough position, given that it was our choice and our decision to move forward without you guys, and that we did kick you, and we should have took the responsibility of making it more known that we kicked you guys, and no matter how negative it would have impacted us. TD, I wish you had come to me a lot more after the fact, especially given that our situation was a lot more personal. I sent you a whole novel, man, of apologizing and trying to explain how I felt, but it would have just been better if we just met up, talked it out. I understand that we have our differences and our own beliefs, but man, I really think this all could have been resolved if we just took the time man to man and just expressed ourselves then and in the moment. Now, I did spark a lot of this, and I want to apologize to Walker for referring to him as TD's friend. How we're using our platforms to tear each other down just isn't the move, and I'm sorry for starting that. TD and Walker, they have a good dynamic. They make great videos, so you guys should just go check it out for yourselves. This whole drama stuff that we're doing isn't necessary. If any of you guys, we have any more issues, we all agree to just talk this out. I'm going to leave his link down below. I'm also going to leave Walker's. Now, Los and I, we have a pretty long history. I messed that up. I broke our trust due to
Pacifying behavior, rubbing of the neck, indicates that your body's trying to relieve stress. Pacifying behavior is basically when your body tries to get rid of stress and it causes you to scratch, itch, fidget, rub your knees. That indicates that you feel stressed and your body's trying to release that. The fact that he's calm and collected and he keeps that persona, but then he's still doing a pacifying behavior, shows that he's making a huge effort to try and control his emotions and how he's presenting himself to the camera. Now, that might be how he is normally. It could indicate that they're trying to manipulate their body language in a deceptive way, but nothing else backs that up. So I wouldn't say that's the case. He's just trying to come off as calm and collected and not come off as emotional, which again might be his personality type. I don't know.
that I said about him behind his back. There's no excuse for what I said about him. It was completely wrong. I talked to him.
Shoulder shrug actually shows you're not sure, so could be a sign of deception there. If he was telling the truth, you'd have expected him to maintain eye contact, do a subtle head nod or what he does, which is cross his head across, but he shrugs his shoulder. That is actually a sign that you don't know if you're telling the truth or not. That's a sign of uncertainty. When someone shrugs their shoulders when they say something, it may mean that he doesn't actually believe what's being said. He's questioning it, but he has to say it because he's on camera. So there is that to factor in. I don't think that is too sincere, but yeah, I don't think he believes it.
Apologize. I thought we made amends given, this past year. And I'm sorry for getting emotional and bringing all this back up. I can watch one video, dude, and I forget about all this. We shared a moment, dude. I'm never going to forget. And regarding the public statement of kicking Los out of 2Hype, we should have handled that a lot better. I should have handled that a lot better. And the way I told people to not fuck with Los, I understand that then, and I've grown from that, moved on in that kind of toxic behavior. I'm sorry for any friendships that I got in between of because of that, and I just want to move on. I'm not expecting anything from you. I'm telling you and the fans that I'm moving forward, and I wish nothing but the best to Los. I've always believed in him and his career and what he's doing, and there's a reason he's a top streamer.
All of that is completely honest. His baseline hasn't shifted at all. He's keeping up with the baseline. He's keeping his eye contact. He's keeping his gestures, and he's keeping his calm personality. If he was lying, if he was being untruthful, you'd see his baseline shift slightly. He might not look at the camera. He might try and distance himself with his eyes. He might try and fidget. He might lean back, and I know he keeps leaning forward and back throughout this whole video, but I think he's just making a load of cuts. He's coming in on the computer, pausing the video, starting it again, and then changing his seating position. So, we can't take much from that. This is a lot more concise than other videos I've reviewed, so it does seem more calm, controlled, collected, and planned. So yeah, but he is putting on that he's calm. He is a lot more nervous than he makes out to be. We could tell that from the pacifying behavior. But what he just said was completely honest.
And try to be the greatest I can be. Not just online, but just a person. Now, this Tyler situation, he's going to say what he wants about me. I know the truth. Him and I spent the most time together in the group, especially after Jesse bought his house. There's just a lot of personal details. Tyler does matter to me.
So I know I said about the leaning in was just him cutting, but that was extreme. He was so close to the camera then. I think he's telling the truth. If he wasn't telling the truth, again, you'd expect distancing behaviors. It's completely subconscious. He wouldn't know he's doing it, but he'd be more further back. But when he came in, right close to the camera, right close to the stressor, or if it was caveman times, right close to the predator, and he's telling the camera what's what. He's being truthful. He doesn't feel like he has anything to hide. So yeah, he's completely truthful in what he said there.
Through all this bullshit, there's just a lot of personal details and things that I just don't want to go into.
You can tell he's ashamed of the personal details being all out there and stuff because he looked down again, which is a sign of submission. It's a sign of feeling bad about yourself, bad about what's been happening. Yeah, you can take that from it. He looks down, he does feel bad about all this personal information being out there, and he feels almost regret as if, well, I don't know about the drama, so I don't know if he put out personal details or someone else did, but he does feel bad about that.
I miss you, bro. And to set the record straight, we don't want to sue you, bro. We're just trying to settle this offline. I have no clue what your plan is. I have no clue what your motive is. None of us do, including the people that you're cool with. Everything that you've expressed to us that you wanted, we gave to you. We just got to grow up. At the end of the day, I'm grateful for what we experienced. It is what it is. I have to live with it.
He's doing a lot of looking down there, but I think that's because he feels sad about the whole situation. Not that he's trying to deceive or anything like that. Not that he feels any guilt. He feels just bad about the whole situation, about his friend. That's why he's looking down throughout this whole thing, this sort of ending conclusion part. He feels bad about it.
Mistakes. I'm only responsible for my own actions. This whole drama has just been a learning experience for myself and the group. And to talk a little bit about the business side of things, we went into this and started the group channel not really knowing how it was going to turn out, how it was going to be, how we should do. We just only had our own personal experiences to go off of and just looking up to our inspirations. Our biggest inspiration, we've made that so clear, is FaZe, Sidemen, 100 Thieves. And about 100 Thieves, guys, you may think that it has to do with the bag. The main thing and the main reason why we went with 100 Thieves were the resources. So we wouldn't stress over things that cause these personal issues. When you get to a certain stage and a certain level, whether that may be on YouTube or whatever it is, you just have to take on more responsibilities. And when you have more resources, you have less responsibilities because those resources help you manage those responsibilities. It helps us not have so much tension, with us having to do everything. And it's like we have lives and responsibilities of our own, to which this deal has helped us just in ways that I can't even explain.
Notice as we come to the end of the video, as he said pretty much most of the difficult stuff, his body language actually gets more vibrant, more colourful, which is what I think he's like in other videos. I haven't seen other videos, but I presume that's what he's like. Because, to be honest, no one could be that dry on YouTube for a long period of time, especially doing what he does, which is sort of, I don't know, fun vids. So, yeah, notice his body language gets more energetic as he goes along, more vibrant, more entertaining almost, which shows that he's got past the difficult part and now he's sort of getting back to his normal self, which shows just how badly it affected him, which is a good sign. It shows that he's being honest, he's affected by it, he's sad by it, he was, annoyed by the whole situation, and his apology seems sincere. There was that little bit with the shoulder shrug that made me, not that he's dishonest, but he doesn't believe it, but he's saying it anyway. I suppose that is dishonesty there, but it wasn't too big a point. But yeah, I don't want to make a conclusion on that just yet because it was only one tell and I need more evidence to back that up. But that's a bit iffy, but the rest of it was perfectly honest, perfectly truthful. And yeah, he seems to be getting back into his normal self now. Yeah, a lot to take from that. I think he was completely honest about what he was saying, apart from when he did the shoulder shrug. I think he sort of didn't believe it, but he had to say it when he did the shoulder shrug, or he didn't fully understand the situation. Basically, the shoulder shrug is a sign that you don't think you're sure on it. Doesn't mean that he's deceptive, because if he wanted to lie, he would have controlled his body language not to give off that tell, but he gave it off anyway. So it shows that it was unplanned. He didn't mean anything malicious by it, I don't think. It was just a sort of slip up, and he didn't really believe what he was saying. But other than that, mostly truthful. I mean, the rest of the video was completely truthful. He maintains his baseline. He tries to sort of control his energy, which is important for him, I think, because he wants to come off as calm and collected, which is understandable. But he does reveal it with his pacifying behaviours that he is actually quite stressed by this situation. But again, with these videos, you're literally talking to millions of people. You're going to be stressed. If I knew I was talking to a million people about drama and I had to admit that I was sorry about something that I'd done, that's hard to do. I'd feel stressed. I'd feel a bit uneasy about the whole situation. So, fair play to him. He does maintain a good level of composure, which is good. He does reveal some emotions that he's feeling, which is good as well, because it tells us that he's actually affected by it. If he was lying, if he didn't feel that he did anything wrong, you wouldn't see those behaviours. You wouldn't see him doing pacifying behaviours because he doesn't care. But he does care in this video. All signs of honesty, all signs of truthfulness. So yeah, I'd say this guy was completely truthful, apart from that one shoulder shrug, which was one specific point. maybe he didn't believe that. But other than that, completely truthful. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and please be sure to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Thanks for watching.